All right, folks, what is going on? This is episode 400. Yes, 400 of the First and Frame Rate show. I am VF Baller, and it's been 5 years. Man, it's been a little bit over 5 years since I've been doing this show. The first episode was July 19th, 2017. Now, in the midst of all that, a lot of stuff has happened. I bought a house. So there's been a gap within the show that like almost 6 months the show wasn't going on. Then I had my son, me and my wife, we ended up having our son, and there was a little gap in that point. Also, it was another gap because this was originally just called it was just called First and Frame Rates, and it changed over to I think it was the First and Frame Rates podcast, and then it switched over to the First and Frame Rates show. But it's been a long journey. It all started out with me and one other person, and me and his name is Bill's Fourth. You can find him on Twitter. I don't know. I haven't seen him on Twitter in a while, but you can find him on Twitter real easy. I think I can't even remember what his username is. I think he changed it, but nevertheless, me and him was doing the show, and it was basically about sports and sports gaming. That's what it was. And then it transitioned. We added another person named DJ81. You can find him not only on Twitter as DJ81. You can find him on the First and Frame Rates Discord. He's one of the managers of the if not the manager of the Discord. So he's still around. But he was on the show as well. And we continue to talk about sports and sports gaming. But it's transitioned from that to what it is now. So this, even though it's 400 episodes, it wasn't always just about Georgia Southern and Atlanta Falcons football. It was mostly about sports and sports gaming. Because at the end of the day, I don't know if you see behind me or whatever, and I need to put some more lights in here. I may do that another time. This show is I'm mostly a gamer, and I have a second YouTube channel for that. But this channel was basically about sports and sports gaming. But I always wanted to talk about sports. I've always wanted to talk about my favorite teams. I believe that I was born to do this. I believe that I have a passion for it. Everything I do is unscripted. I don't have any notes. I don't have any. I just talk. So sometimes it may sound like I'm rambling, but I really feel like this is something I was born to do, because I could do this all day if I want to. I could sit in front of a microphone and just talk about stuff. And I remember even when I was a kid, I used to record myself on a cassette tape like I am reporting the news. And like I said, this is just something I've always been fascinated with, just communicating in this fashion. I mean, I've listened to so many radio shows, talk radio shows, from music radio to sports radio to political radio. I've listened to everything because this type of communication I love. I mean, I can't even begin to tell you all the people I used to look up to I used to listen to on the radio, or I used to listen to them over the internet, doing what I do now. So this thing here is not just something I'm just passionate about Georgia Southern or Atlanta Falcons football. I have a passion of talking on the microphone like this. And like I said, none of this is scripted. I don't have any bulletin points or anything like that. I just look at a topic and just go. It's one of the reasons why I don't get a lot of things correct, because I easily could if I took notes, but sometimes I just feel like I don't need to. It's not because of arrogance. I just feel like the show will be more natural if I was able to just talk instead of just having everything robotically in line. So that's why I just try to do this off the cuff. But nevertheless, I could talk about that all day. I want to thank you guys for all the support. I want to thank you guys for all the the likes, subscribes, and sharing the podcast. A lot of people on Twitter are starting to share, and not only that, a lot of you guys are actually a part of this Q&A that has done a lot of there's a lot of interesting things that you guys put out there. And before I get into the ones I've seen on Twitter, because most of them are on Twitter, I think I got one or two that's on the YouTube channel that I want to actually address first. So I want to talk about those real quick. So let me pull these up on the phone, and we'll go from there. I don't want to. All right, let's see. All right, let's see if anybody has questions on here. I just dropped my phone. Don't pay me no mind. The first question that I have on here is, let's see, where is it? Okay. Tron McBride on the last episode 399 asked me this. He said, how often do I go back to Statesboro, and am I going to a game at Paulson this year? Basically, I go back at least once a year because I always go to Savannah to go see family because I'm from Savannah, Georgia, and at least once time a year I want to go back and visit. So at least once a year. And am I going to a game at Paulson this year? Yes, I went to the Gardner Webb game last year, and I try to go to at least one game every year at Paulson. I love the atmosphere there. I talked about that on the last episode where a lot of us and like not just me, but a lot of the guys who I went to school with try to go to at least one game, and they enjoy being back at Paulson and all the other good stuff. And yes, definitely, that's definitely going to be a thing. I'm going to do that. So now I want to pull up this on the screen here, and these are all the other questions that are on Twitter. And I'm going to give you my thoughts and opinions on these questions. Shout out to Jacob Crawford. He's one of my guys that are doing the emotes on the Discord. If you want to check out the Discord, the link will be down in the description. Highly recommend you come through and, I highly recommend you join the Discord. It's going to be a really fun time throughout the football season to go through the Discord and talk amongst ourselves about our team and the other teams in the Sun Belt. Jacob Crawford asks, when did you start following Georgia Southern and the Falcons, and what has been your favorite moment from each team? Well, I've been following Georgia Southern since the mid to late 80s, 87, 88. I've been following Georgia Southern since I was a kid, but I really started paying attention to them was the 1990 season when they won the national championship. At that time, I was like, I'm pretty much going to tell you my age right now. At that point, I was like 7 or 8 years old. And I really understood the game of football at that point, and watching them win the national title. I don't remember much of it, but I do remember them holding the trophy up and celebrating. And that's when I really knew that, okay, this is really going to be my team. I watched them, win this title, and I knew of them, but I didn't know much about them until that time. As far as the Falcons go, I've been a Falcons fan since 1993. Now, this is going to be kind of weird because before then, I rarely understood or knew anything about the Falcons. Now, mind you, me living in Savannah, Georgia, when football was on TV, it was basically you saw the popular team. So I was a big fan of the 49ers back then because in Savannah, from what I remember seeing the 49ers on TV. So I remember seeing the Jerry Rices, Joe Montana, Ronnie Lott, those, John Taylor. Those was my, that was the team that I followed for a long time until I realized, look, we got a team that's a little bit closer. I'm going to root for the home team. So it was around 92, 93. I really started, following the Falcons. I knew of the Falcons around the early 90s. I remember the 91 Falcons with Michael Haynes and when Deion first came, and that's when I started watching them a little bit. But it really didn't start until like 93, when I really started to follow the Falcons. And it's just lack of exposure, so we didn't really know. Well, I didn't really much know about the Falcons too much. Let me see. Tin Horn Productions with the next question. He said, let me see if I pulled it up. Is that it right there? Okay, here it is. Yep, here it is right. Tin Horn Productions says, how excited are you for the future of the Georgia Southern Athletics, and what do you want to see happen next in the Borough? Facility upgrades, success on the field, games on TV, anything else I could think of? Well, as far as Georgia Southern Athletics, we're talking about going beyond football. You look at the basketball team, I think Brian Berg just needs to go ahead and take the extra step. I'm excited for it, but I want to, as far as me what I want to see happen next. I want to see the men's basketball team take that step. I think the women's basketball team with Coach AG she's done a phenomenal job with what she's done with the women's basketball team. They're just recruiting like crazy right now and look like they're going to be taking that next step as well. All the other teams, the golf team's is doing great. The rifle team's done pretty good. The softball team, the baseball team just hosted a regional. So as far as Georgia Southern Athletics, I think as a collective, they're pretty much on the incline. They're moving up when it comes to what the athletic program, and you can't do nothing but be excited about that. Now, let's circle back and talk about football. The football program has always been, on the upward trend until, I think it was even after the Cure Bowl, it kind of started to dip a little bit. Even though we won the RL Carrier Bowl the year after that, it still felt like Georgia Southern football was not as powerful as it was, even when they first came into the FBS or definitely the FCS. But now with Coach Clay Helton here, I think we're going to start really seeing a powerhouse within the group of five with Georgia Southern. I firmly believe if he sticks around for the next 5 to 7 years, I think we're going to be a program to reckon with, and that's a stretch because a lot of coaches don't hang around that long for this type of job. But if he does, and the recruiting that he's doing, we're going to be a problem. So collectively, I'm very excited. And what I want to see, first of all, I really want to see the men's basketball team take their next step. And as far as football, you guys already know how I feel about the football team. Everything else in Georgia Southern Athletics is looking really good. So I just want them to keep moving forward. But the main thing is that basketball team. I want to see Brian Berg take that next step. And I'm already have faith in Coach Helton that's going to make things happen with the football team. As far as upgrades, facility upgrades, success on the field, like I said, I already talked about success on the field. Games on TV, I'm content with the way games are on TV. I think ESPN Plus is a phenomenal place for the Sun Belt in general. But I've already heard that there's going to be like some package deal for a new television rights for the Sun Belt. I think it's going to be really interesting. I think I heard that right. So that's going to be really interesting. So with that being said, those are good. Last but not least, facility upgrades. I like what they're doing, the indoor practice facility. I like that. Not too keen on the basketball side of things as far as the facility of that, but yeah, that's another story for another day. But as far as the indoor practice facility, I think it's going to get better and better. I don't think it's going to stay where it is at first. I think it's going to start to get more enclosed. But even where it is now, I think it's a big deal for Georgia Southern. So that's going to be pretty cool. Let's see, what's the next one? Greg has a handful of questions. And I think Tin Horn has another question as well, but we're going to keep going through this. Greg says, do you miss the option? My non-Southern friend said it was boring, but Breda would break off a 40-yard run. Yes, he would. And that was fire. Absolutely. How do you see the offensive scheme in 2022? I predict 60 run and then in 2023 it'll be 60 passing. Do you agree? All right. Do I miss the option? Yes, I do miss the option. I've been real critical of moving on from the option. Not critical, but I've been for moving on from the option. And I think that's something that, we should do because we moved up to the FBS, and it, at this level, we're going to have to play with more of a balanced attack. Because the option, just like you said, Breda will break off a 40-yard run. I mean, I remember seeing, all type of players do like a phenomenal job. Adrian Peterson, Jason Foster, Dominique Swope. I mean, I can just start naming guys. Hell, Wesley Kennedy. Wesley Fields. I mean, you could just start naming guys who used to just gash defenses over and over again with the option. But with the triple option, you're talking about FCS days with Jarrett McKinnon and all these other guys. I mean, yeah, it was real fun to watch. But how do I see the offensive scheme in 2022? I'm kind of flipped. I'm not really flipped on what you're saying. It says 60 run and 60 pass in 2023. I think it's going to be 60 pass out the gate. I think we're going to be doing a lot of passing out the game. The only way we're going to tell back from passing if Kyle Van Trees or any other quarterback that's under center is just not effective passing the ball. But I think with Coach Clay Helton, he's going to make some type of emphasis on pushing the ball downfield aggressively. If you've seen anything what he done at USC with Juju Smith-Schuster and all these other guys that he had, he's going to want to pass the ball. He's probably going to want to pass the ball first. Does that bode well for our running backs, the Gerald Greens and the Jalen Whites? It could, because it's going to create space. And the last thing you want is any of those two guys get space, because if they get space, you're going to see those 40-yard runs. So, I think it's going to be more pass than anything. So be on the lookout for that. I could be wrong, but the way Coach Helton's been running everything, I think he's going to be pretty much trying to pass the ball. All right, let's see. Greg has another question. He said, what favorite football players of all time, NCAA or NFL? I'm going to start with the favorite player of all time, totally. Favorite football player of all time, NCAA or NFL. I'm going to give you one from each. And really, for the NFL, I was a big fan of Jerry Rice. This goes back to what I was saying back with, I was a 49ers fan before a Falcon fan. That's pretty much it. To me, I felt like Jerry Rice was one of the most awesome players that I've ever seen. For him to play the game the way he did, and he wasn't the fastest, he wasn't the strongest. There's been some controversy about the stuff on his hands, but that's another story for another day. But me growing up, that was my favorite player. NCAA, if I don't know, man. I don't have too many. I ain't gonna say I don't have too many favorite players. I have a few, but it's hard to pick from, because just going to your other, question, favorite Southern player of all time was Jason Foster. I used to love watch Jason Foster run the ball. That kid was extremely fast. He's not a kid now, but he was extremely fast at running the ball. I never seen nobody move that fast in live and in person. Maybe there's people faster than him. Obviously, they probably are. But as far as my favorite player, it probably would be Jason Foster. There's a couple of other guys that I actually, love to watch football back in their college days. I mean, you can go back and think about Tommy Frazier at Nebraska. I love the way that he played the football. I remember, I remember watching the 2001 Miami Hurricanes, the Willis McGahees, Frank Gore of the world. I remember watching Maurice Clarett. He was another guy that I used to like. Mike Williams at USC before he stepped away. Vince Young, I ain't gonna say he's one of my favorite, but I love the performance that he had against USC. But really, it was just Jason Foster basically. So that was my favorite player. Just those other guys are pretty much honorable mentions. Greg also asked, would you consider having guests on? Crossover podcasts with other Southern fans, podcasters, or pros and team podcasts. Gotta Talk used to do that back with Black and Gold, the Appalachian State podcast, a few years back. I enjoyed the conversation because it gave things to look for during the game. Oh, I'm always open to it. I kind of keep myself shelled in, mostly because I be focused on what I do here. Because like I said, it's not scripted, so I'm always focused on just trying to make this come off as concise and basically coherent as possible. I just want to make sure I keep my ducks in a row as I continue to flow with the show, because like I said, all this up here is just, I may have some stats, so I'm just looking at the analytics of how the show is being ran as far as the quality of the show, but I don't have any anything. Everything is off the cuff. But as far as having guests, absolutely. I actually thought about doing this for the Falcon side of the show. Like, I have a couple of guys that do other commentary for other teams that I will try to reach out to have them come on the show like before game day or whatever. But I'm always open to other, having guests in general. At one point, believe it or not, this was a call-in show. So I don't know if I'll be able to bring that back. It just depends on how many people want it. So if you guys are listening, give me some feedback. If that's something that you would want, that would be something to think about. So let's see. Tin Horn comes back and asks, "What are your favorite places to eat in the borough, and how do you think the new practice facility will improve tailgating and the game day atmosphere?" Um, I will say this: if it ain't uh the chicken place in Statesboro, Shugs. I mean, it that's just me. I mean, I remember eating at that place when I was in college down there, so that was my favorite place overall. There's a couple other places that I've been to that I like as well, but there was nothing like, Shugs. It's nothing like it. I mean, to this day, even when I go down there and if I go to a game, or like when I went to the practice, the 3 and 9 year, I went to the open practice when it was open to the public, and I basically went to Uncle Shugs. I mean, that's just what it is. So that's my favorite place to eat. Now I have a few other ones, but it's mostly Shugs. And what do I think about the new practice facility? Will improve tailgating. I think it's gonna I think it's going to improve tailgating because you're going to have some people who want to be close to the indoor practice facility. But I think it's going to be somewhat a hindrance because it's going to kind of be in the way. I haven't been down there to see what it looks like yet. I've seen pictures. Some guys put the pictures on the Discord, and some people was really worried about the parking. But as far as tailgating go, it's just another thing in the backdrop to be around. And I think that's one thing about tailgating that actually, makes it exciting. You don't want to tailgate around a bunch of bushes or trees or abandoned buildings or anything like that. So having something like that, well, some people are going to find a way to, just put their tailgating area like in a real good spot so other people would notice them, or people will want to take pictures around the IPF, where I think it's going to be pretty cool. So I don't know how it's set up, because I could be wrong. I don't even know how close they can get to the IPF, but I think it would improve tailgating from a aesthetics standpoint, where people will want to be closer to it, and the memories that they will have tailgating with that in the background or whatever would just create really good memories and good pictures. Game day atmosphere. People are going to come by and going to see what it looks like, so it will help. I think it'll bring more people out, even though the parking may be a little different, but it will help in that aspect. Let's see what's next. Trash consumer, dude, help! Laugh my LMAO. Yo, what a handle! That's a crazy handle. Shout out to you. Anyway, which new team coming to the Sun Belt are you most excited to see play Georgia Southern long term? I don't know, because I like everybody. That's everybody who came in. Everybody who came in is like really, really cool to see. Got Old Dominion, which we have history with. James Madison, we have history. Marshall, we have history with. Southern Miss, I don't know, not so much. But Ole Miss, they're Eagles that have Appalachian State colors. So I don't even know how to feel about that when it comes to possibly bringing out a rivalry with them, because first of all, you're Eagle and you're wearing those guys in Boone, North Carolina colors. Gross. But nevertheless, I think that's going to be pretty cool to play them. But which new team that I'm most excited to see play? I mean, it got to be out of one of those three in the East. I mean, if I really had to pick, I don't know, man, because if it comes to outside of football, I would like to see us play James Madison in basketball, because they have our coach, our old coach, so that'd be interesting. But as far as football, if I had to pick, it may have to be Old Dominion, because we have history with them. If you want to go back and look at some great games, go back and look at the Old Dominion game that when we played them in the FCS. It was a phenomenal game. So we do have hit. So that would probably be the most excited. I can't wait to see them come down to Paulson and watch them play. I think that's gonna be really cool. Let's see. I think that's pretty much all that's all of the questions that I have. So that's pretty cool. Let me see if I can find any more. If I can, I will bring them up. But I think that's it. Nevertheless, man, I really appreciate you guys. I really do. You guys are absolutely awesome. And I cannot do this without you guys. we're at episode 400, and we're going to continue to move and get better. You know, not only just with this podcast, but I think we're going to get better with both of our teams. And the thing about it is, I'm kind of in. I know there's a lot of other um, shows out there. There's a lot of other um, YouTube channels that are out there that talk about Atlanta Falcons stuff. And shout out to those guys too. But I think, and I'm not trying to beat my chest or anything, but if I'm probably like the only one on YouTube that really does this Georgia Southern thing consistently. And in some cases, people may look at this as a Georgia Southern podcast, which is fine. I don't have a problem with that, because the truth be told, I'm actually more passionate about the Georgia Southern Eagles than the Atlanta Falcons. There's nothing to take away from the Falcons. I'm going to continue to cover them or whatever the case may be. But I do feel that this has become more of a Georgia Southern thing than anything. All of the Q&A was about Georgia Southern football. It just goes to show that you guys support what I do, and I cannot thank you guys enough. And I would be remiss if I wouldn't think about or talk about the other guys that are out here talking about Georgia Southern football as well, whether it be, verbal or if they're doing it with visuals. So I would love to give a shout out to Gata Talk. I mean, I think those guys do a phenomenal job. Talent Talk, I think he does very well. I haven't seen him on Twitter in a while. Hopefully, he will continue to do his put out his his tweets. He has some very informative tweets about recruits and picking and transfers and stuff. He does a really good job. Captain Clack is out here on YouTube. He puts up all the games that he can, and he puts them up on YouTube. And he does a very good job of showing off the history of Georgia Southern. There's other people I cannot remember them all. Obviously the official guys. The guys at Georgia Southern who does the inside Georgia inside Eagle Nation. I listen to them all the time, just as much as I listen to Gata Talk. Those guys are the official ones. They're the ones that's going to the games and actually having the show under the Georgia Southern University umbrella. I'm just a guy that's behind the mic that just likes to talk about my favorite teams. But it's all it's all love. I love all of it. When it comes to Atlanta Falcons stuff, that's a big conglomerate over there. They have their own stuff on their own website. You got other guys that are here on the YouTube community that talks about the Atlanta Falcons. They do a phenomenal job. I just try to do something a little unique when it comes to the Atlanta Falcons stuff, just as well as the Georgia Southern stuff. And you guys are responding in kind. I cannot thank you guys enough. I really can't. If you like this commentary, hit the like button, share this podcast, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We are 400 episodes in, and we're going to try to push another 400. And after that, we're going to try to push another 400. And after that, we're going to try to push another 400. But it's all thanks to you guys. You guys make this go. Without all the Q&As, without all the likes and the sharing and, all the feedback, this would not be possible. Not only that, man, you guys over there on the podcast side of things, the Anchor, Stitcher, Spotify, Apple, you guys are lighting it up over there. And I know this may seem like it's small, but it's a really big deal to me. There are times where I'm getting 200, 300, in some cases 400 views daily or listens daily over there. Almost, over, 1,000 people are downloading and listening to the podcast on a weekly basis. I can't thank you guys enough, man. I really can't. Not to get too much into the inside baseball of the numbers of this show, but I just want you guys to know that you guys are appreciated just for listening, just for sharing, in some cases just for watching on YouTube and Rumble. Where it's really at is on the podcast avenue. You guys are killing it over there. YouTube is doing okay, but y'all are killing it over there. And if you want to know, I'm on Anchor, Stitcher, Spotify, Apple, and Google Podcasts. You can go over there, find your favorite podcast avenue to subscribe to, and you can subscribe to my episodes, and you'll get notified as soon as I upload the next episode, which is usually around 9 a.m. Eastern on Monday through Friday. I don't know what else to say, man. I just appreciate y'all. I really do. So here's to another 400, and you guys are making this go. I can't say that enough. I am going to get out of here. I'm going to get ready for episode 401. We're going to talk about some training camp stuff with the Falcons, and we may throw some more Georgia Southern stuff in for the rest of the week. All right, y'all. Y'all take it easy. Thank you guys again. I really mean that. All right, y'all. Y'all take it easy. Y'all be blessed. Peace.